G'day investigators, Mike Evans from the Australian Security Academy with lots of loud music going on. Thanks for tuning in to episode number 212 of Spy Curious, the Friday afternoon program for licensed private investigators, government investigators, corporate investigators, security risk managers and loss adjusters. It's where I live, the Sanctuary Cove Boat Show. Here's the galley of the boat that costs $14,000 a day to hire. You can jump in that galley and have seafood for breakfast. So because it's a Sanctuary Cove Boat Show, people, there are helicopters going over my house every 2 minutes, and I can't hear this, and I can't hear a lot at all. So it's going to be a very quick program today. We should be out of here in probably about 20 minutes time. So if you're at the boat show, call in and say hello, say good day. See you on the $14,000 a day yacht. Today, this is really important. To win a covert 1080p pen camera, make sure you are registered on Facebook to comment with StreamYard, all right? And there'll be a draw at the end of this program, a random draw, a lottery draw, not one that someone can just jump in first, but it's going to scroll through everybody that enters names. So far, we have 4 entries. So those people have got a really good chance of winning a covert 1080p pen camera, which is a lot of fun for a private investigator. That's the way, Chantel. You're in the draw. Well done. G'day to you, Chantel. Thanks for tuning in. You've had a very busy week. Okay, people. So today we've got job vacancies. We've got a brand new book that's been written, and it's a real beauty. I can't wait to show you the book. And we've also got a little bit of news. So what's been happening around the place today? Over the last 2.5 hours over at Investigations Uni, we have watched Ivan Lundy and Pat Flynn talking about CTP liability investigations. Now, Ivan talked about the Transport Accident Commission in Victoria. Pat talked about the MAIB in Tasmania, the Transport Accident Commission in Victoria, the MAIC in Queensland, and New South Wales Green Slip. So CTP investigations is something that you are going to do as a licensed private investigator. And they're a whole lot of fun because you get a lot of fraud in it, okay? And at Investigations Uni today, we actually showed you an example of some frauds in staged motor vehicle accidents. And that was quite interesting. So it's been a very busy day over at Investigations Uni. We've enjoyed presenting it, but prior to that, Pat Flynn talked about applying government processes. So that was for our Certificate 4 in Government Investigation students. But the TAC presentation by Ivan was for private investigators and government investigators. The TAC expect that if you're going to do investigations for them, you have Certificate 4 in Government Investigations plus a private investigator's license. They're very hard on that, right? They are very big on professional development and holding qualifications. The presentation you watched over there with Ivan in it, I have now watched 50 times. And 50 times I've learned something from that presentation. So it's a real beaut presentation presented in down-to-earth, easy-to-understand manner for people that have to conduct government investigations. So click on the link from your email and get on there and watch it. Okay, that's really important. G'day, Clive, great to see you. Hi, Belinda, great to see you too. Maurizio, great to see you. Now, people remember, you've got to be an Australian resident. You have to be registered with Facebook. Now, if you're not registered with Facebook, that's really easy. Okay, so there's an alternative. You can jump over and watch this program over on YouTube, by my YouTube channel. So to find this YouTube channel, get on YouTube, type in Michael Evans, PI, Australian Security Academy, and that will come up. Then in the comments over on the right-hand side, just type in #spy there. Okay, you don't have to register with YouTube. So you will then go in the draw if you can't get on Facebook, and it only has you as anonymous on Facebook. on YouTube, you can go in that draw to win. So what are you going to win? You're going to win a spy camera, or this spy camera, or next week, maybe that spy camera. So there's all those spy cameras, and here's another one here. And then there's this one here, and there's another one here. So, and this one as well. So for the next couple of weeks, every week, you can win a spy camera. Type in #spy over in the chat. And before we close today, I'll draw it and you may win. Hi, Guy. Excuse me. You might win that camera. So that's really exciting. Let's have a look at this new book. Now, usually with books, they're funny. They don't have much relevance in them, but this one has got some substantial stuff in it. Now, it's American, right? And I don't agree with a yes direction and a no direction that she talks about in the book. I don't agree with that. We can't use that here. Police do, right? They're allowed to do that, but we can't. All right, so rules of evidence, procedural fairness, all that sort of thing. We can't do that. But there are other aspects of her book that are really, really good. So have a look at this. G'day, Dale. Thanks for checking in, mate. Good luck. Have a look at this and get yourself a copy. It's only $30. It might be about $38 Australian. Today's book review, we're looking at the book Tell Me Everything, the Story of a Private Investigator by Erica Krause. Now, this one really resonated with me. Here's the book cover, and you can order it online. There's also a Kindle version. This young lady became a private investigator back in 2002, and she tells the story of an investigation she did involving a football team and a sexual assault. So that's what the book is basically about, and her investigation into that. She says in the book, I became a private investigator because of my face. Now, the first thing that you may have noticed that's a little bit different today is up here above me is a plain face emoji. If you want to be a private investigator, the really important thing you have to do is be totally unremarkable. As a private investigator, there's no point looking like this, as much as I think I do. There's no point looking like this. It's going to attract too much attention. Erica claims it's because she looked like this and she looked like this, it was attributed to her success. She says, I became a private investigator because of my face. It's an ordinary looking face. But if I ask, how are you? Sometimes people start crying. I'm getting a divorce, they say. He ended our marriage by text, or I was diagnosed with late stage Lyme disease, or a man grips a packet of peas in the frozen food aisle and asks, how do you cook these? My wife died last month. And it's all because of Erica's face. Erica is not intimidating like this or like this. She looks like this. Poor girl. Well, that's what Erica says anyway. So she says, even as a kid, she was a storage locker for other people's secrets. So people would just come up to her and tell her things even as a kid. Her grandfather, her grandmother, her father, all sorts of people would come up to her and they would just simply spill their guts to Erica. So they would tell Erica their secret. And Erica decided to turn that into a profession much later on, after she was an author in the beginning. So there's something about her face that bore the shape of a key or a steel table upon which people could unload. That's what Erica says. People tell their secrets to Erica. In this profession, people, ordinary is good. That's what we want. So as a private investigator, guys, right, I'm serious now. You don't want to look like this, all right? Don't look like this guy. Ladies, don't look like this, okay? You must be in the private investigation profession, Mrs. or Mr. Unremarkable, just like our emoji up the top. So Erica tells us that people went up to her when she was young, and in the story she goes, I recognise that look from a lifetime of receiving confessions. Calliope was straddling a limbo that entwined past memory with current pain. When someone confesses to you as a private investigator, you will recognise that big time. And Erica nails it in that one line in her book. She does it very well. Good on you, Erica. People confess to her. So the book has a review from the Washington Post, and in the Washington Post they say there are many memorable characters in Tell Me Everything, from plus-size sex workers to beady-eyed coach and the incomparable Mr. Fix-It, and her own persona and her supernatural powers. Her supersized wounds and her spiritual speedball of courage, vulnerability that makes her book mesmerizing on every page. So that's what the Washington Post says about her book. This is what Erica actually looks like. Now there's a face you'll go up and you'll just tell things to, because that's how Erica said she started her career. All right, so great opportunity to have a read over the weekend. It's only 289 pages long. It's a very quick read. It's called Tell Me Everything, The Story of an Investigation by Erica Krause. It's available in a Kindle version, and you can buy the hard copy for $30 online. As we say in private investigations, be unremarkable, Mr. or Mrs. Unremarkable. One of the things that she also says in there, she talks about her boss sending her on a mission and it might be dangerous. And he says, because some of these guys are dangerous, it's okay. I said, what will you do if he tries something? Grayson had said, what will, not what would. There's a consideration for you. In next week's uni, we have operational safety. So how to stay safe in investigations. And Erica just introduced it then in the plain and ordinary emoji version of our book review for this week, in late May 2023. I like it, really do. Especially the bit about the confession. It's really freaky. You get it. People, my students get them. They email me, they ring me up, they tell me, got the first one and this is what it was like and all that sort of thing. And it really is an amazing feeling. It's something that doesn't shock you, but you just recognize it every time, just like Erica said, that person in the book. So obviously she's an experienced private investigator writing a book about her profession. Well done, Erica. All right, so moving right along. If you didn't know, in Queensland, they're updating the use of covert cameras, listening devices, all that sort of thing, because two private investigation agencies on the Sunshine Coast scared the living daylights out of some ladies during divorce proceedings, and these private investigators exercise coercive control over those ladies on behalf of a paying client. So the Women's Safety Council, the Queensland Law Reform, and sort of, but not really, the Office of Fair Trading in Queensland reluctantly are trying to address it. Now, submissions for that have to be in by Monday of next week. The AIPI have asked their Queensland members to make a submission about that. I wouldn't do it through the AIPI. I've got issues with current Queensland membership. You can't have it both ways. You can't say we're submitting this thing about coercive control and treatment of women and we're acting this other way. You can't do that, so it's a little bit contradictory. If you're going to make a submission about it, do your own. My submission says merely that all marital and relationship surveillance operatives in Queensland should pay a $500,000 bond. They should have a signed stat dec from their client saying exactly what they want, what they're going to do, and what they can do and what they can't do. So that's acknowledged and witnessed by a JP, and also have the permission of the person who's the subject of their surveillance to be under surveillance, but not use remote control cameras in anyone's residence vehicle, or workplace. Simple as that. So if you do the wrong thing and exercise coercive control, you lose your $500,000 deposit, and the OFT use that to fund their investigation into you and take your licence off you. They enforce down in South Australia, they enforce the Security Act in Victoria, they enforce the Security Act in New South Wales, they do it in Western Australia, they do it in Tasmania. The only place that doesn't have an enforcement attitude towards its licensed investigators is Queensland. They dropped the ball. Stopped doing it 15 years ago. They have a newsletter from the OFT that goes out to all security organisations. Never mentioned private investigators once in all the years they've been sending it out. Never. It's all about security guards. The Office of Fair Trading have no idea what they're doing. So, excuse me, Belinda's having trouble having time for reading. I don't blame you. I know. Anything I can do that doesn't involve reading or checking a report or a statement, I'll be quite happy to be involved in. You can get the Kindle version and listen. So, Belinda, there's your solution. Do some listening rather than some reading. And I think the Kindle version is about $12 instead of the $40 for the hard copy version, and it'll probably be quicker. So, good point. Really good point. So, anyway, Office of Fair Trading really don't understand that compliance is beneficial. The Victorian Police Licensing Regulation Division make me do every Friday real-time investigation training. And we've recently done stolen motor vehicles. We've recently done liability investigations. And today in Investigations Uni, we did TAC investigations. The students participating in that, the feedback from them is excellent. They're getting really good learning and good help and understanding. Last week we did door knocks of the area for private investigators and pretext approaches for surveillance operatives, and there's today's TAC presentation. So that really lifts the bar as far as training. It's not just PDFs and a few half-assed police videos. It's real private investigation training, just like Erica's book. Okay, so when compliance people like the LRD in Victoria or SLED New South Wales actually enforce, you'd think the OFT in Queensland would follow on and actually enforce themselves as well. This is last week's winner of our spy pen. When he won last week, he was the first person to enter the draw, and he was the first person. And I said, he probably lives really close to me or he's got fast internet. Well, David had his prize delivered 2 days ago, and I walked over to his place and gave it to him. Never met him before in my life, but he lives right next door to me. Good on you, Xavier. That's great. You're in the draw, mate. All right, so let's have a look at some jobs that are available out there this week. There's some beauties. Quantum Corp, after a liability claims consultant for New South Wales. Now, what the hell do liability claims consultants do? What's their angle with everything? Well, 2 weeks ago, you would have watched that Investigations Uni and you know all about it. You're trained in it. You understand it. You can go out and do statements in relation to it and write reports into it. Go and work for Quantum Corp. They're saying they want 2 years experience. Never before in Australian private investigation history if anyone had the training that you've had, that you saw at Investigations Uni 3 weeks ago on liability investigations. Quantum Corp will welcome you with open arms. Surveillance investigator for Quantum Corp in Darwin. That's a really interesting one. And Darwin's featured a lot this week. Here's a real beauty. That one's for a licensed private investigator conducting surveillance. This one's for a government investigator. So they want a certificate for a government investigation and for you to be a compliance enforcement officer for the licensing unit in NT. And this is directly from their manager, who's a graduate Australian Security Academy student who understands the level of our training, who understands what we do here and wants other students from the Australian Security Academy to go and work for them. So great opportunity. You can see all these jobs on our Facebook page. So we have a Facebook jobs vacancy page you can go and look at. So type in private investigator job vacancies and that Facebook page will come up. Online investigations in Byron Bay. Want an in-house desktop investigator. Now, you've got to live in Byron Bay. They're not going to let you do this from Parramatta or from Darwin or from Perth. So you've got to go into the office every day, be a desktop investigator, get paid $29 an hour, and they want you to start working for them as soon as possible. That's on our Facebook page. Go and have a look at it. Really great opportunity with online investigations. You don't have to go out, knock on anyone's door. You don't go and inspect the scene in the bad weather. It's all done from their office. Quantum Corp are after liability claims consultant. I think I've already done that one. And a factual investigator is wanted by the Massel Group. Now, Massel in Melbourne are looking for workers' compensation investigators. Every Australian Security Academy student that's licensed and applied with them, they've taken on. Great team at Massel. Only talking to them yesterday. Quantum Corp again. This is the one that nobody's ever heard about. M&A Investigations in Perth. M&A Investigations, one of the largest investigation agencies in Australia. So great opportunity to go and work for M&A in Perth. Brookside are hiring. Now, Brookside, again, they're saying we want 2 years experience and we want you to do general insurance investigations. Well, that's great. If you've got 2 years industry experience at the moment, you're earning big dollars per hour, right? And you're very busy, just like Belinda said, she doesn't want to read anything, she's too busy. And they want you to do liability investigations, that's general insurance. They want you to do TAC investigations or motor vehicle accident investigations, that sort of thing, general insurance. It could be home and contents investigations, going out and knocking on people's doors and trying to find witnesses, general insurance, all right? You've studied all that when you studied at the Australian Security Academy and Investigations Uni. So get that job with Brookside. Don't worry about what they ask for 2 years experience. Those people are right up the top. They need new people coming through, so apply. Sure fact, again, they want someone with 2 years experience. If you're an Australian Security Academy graduate, show them your certificate, go right up to the top of the applicants. OIS Global, they're looking down in Victoria for workers' compensation investigators. G'day, Steve, and everybody at OIS. Hi, Pat and Paul, and everybody at Sure Fact. So that's what's happening around the place as far as job vacancies go. Now, one of the things that came up this week, don't forget people, type in hashtag spy in the chat and you're going in the draw very shortly, very quickly now for a covert 1080p pen cam. All right. You must let me know within 24 hours of your postal address so I can send it to you and you'll have it this time next week. All right. So that's the deal. I got a question this week. How do I market myself as a private investigation agency? Single person who's wants subcontract work, that sort of thing. The big thing with marketing is thinking widely and going to the heavy users of what you do. The end of World War I, 1918, at 11 o'clock on the 11th day of the 11th month, at the 11th hour. Good on you, Belinda. Okay. These things stopped being used as blood mops. That's what they were. All the first aiders on the front in France and Germany and Poland and Czechoslovakia and Russia, right? When you got wounded, they come along and they'd mop away the blood with these things. You know what they are. You call them tissues, right? There were warehouses full of them. Millions of people were getting, blown to bits, and someone had to go and clean up the mess of the ones that were still alive, and this is what they soaked up the blood with while they were tending the wounds. They were called blood mops, not tissues. Gentlemen who were out on the front had cotton handkerchiefs, which they kept in their pocket, rolled up and snotted in, and then put back in their pocket, and someone washed it for them. Right? That's what they used to do. Now we have tissues, and you don't have to put snotty handkerchiefs in your pocket anymore. All right? They were called blood mops. What Kleenex did, they had a problem. They had warehouses full of this crap and no more war. And they got their staff together and says, well, what can we do to get rid of all these blood mops? And someone said, at the meeting, oh, those things, they're really good for blowing your nose in. Oh, wow, nobody had ever thought of this before. This was a revelation. So Kleenex started to promote these things through apothecaries, which were chemists or whatever, and supermarkets back in the day, and it really caught on. So Kleenex became what you know it is today by someone thinking outside the square and saying, who else can use our market? Now, you can apply this to investigations as well. There's no use advertising in any of those surveillance hate groups because they just want to do things to you. What you've got to do is you've got to get out there and approach the investigation agencies and the heavy users of investigations valiantly. You've got to do it relentlessly, right? And think, who else can use my product? Who are the heavy users of it? Now, Kleenex get together every year now, and they do that. They brainstorm, what else can we do to sell lots of this product? And they come up with the idea that, oh, we'll have one that matches the curtains. Beautiful curtains, right? So they put that in the package, and you've all seen that. And then they come out with the one that stops your nose running because you blow your nose in it as well, because they tip some essential oil on it. And then that's not enough. They come out with the one that, the Little Mermaid. You've got to have that, right? Your kids see that in the supermarket, you're buying it, right? They've got to have it. And if you've got a little boy, then a little boy's got to have the one with Star Wars on it. Whatever, okay? Then you've got to have the one that goes in your car, right? This is the little car pack, not the big home pack. They're constantly thinking of it, and they're developing new products and meeting their market. It's clever, isn't it? You walk past it, everything, you buy it. And you don't even think about it. $2.90 for 200 pieces of paper. Okay. So that's what they do. So how can you apply do you live near the airport? Can you get there and check quickly for people going to an IME from Sydney to Melbourne if you're at Melbourne Airport? Are you marketing that to the correct people? Do you have a special skill and background in cybersecurity? Are you marketing that to the correct investigation agencies? Can you fly a drone? SureFact want to speak to you? Okay, all right. Can you do surveillance? M&A want to speak to you in Perth. So don't go and sell yourself ridiculously and waste your energy in surveillance hate groups or Facebook hate groups on investigations. Go straight to the investigation agency and say, hi, Mike Evans sent me. SureFact want to know about that. M&A want to know about that. Massel want to know about that. Brookside are quite happy about that. If you live in Byron Bay, I'm sure online investigations are going to be over the moon about having you go there with your license and your qualification. So keep all that in mind. If you're marketing yourself, think widely. Who are the heavy users of my product? And then zero in on those people. Don't waste energy on, I need a surveillance investigator for 2 hours on Saturday night in Upper Coomera. Nobody wants to do that for $15 an hour that they're charging for it, they're paying for it, and no travel time, right? No one wants that. You want ongoing, legitimate work. So push yourself out there and do that. Let's see if we can get a winner for here we go. I hope you can see this. I don't know if you saw that. Cly's our winner. So I do apologise. It went through everything. Cly Marie, you're our winner of our pen. So that was randomly done. I don't think I shared the screen properly. But anyway, that's our winner for this week's U-Butte pen. You've got to let me know your postal address. Okay, so let me know what it is. And you will receive in the mail this week your Covert Private Investigator pen cam. Whoops. So let me know in the chat your physical postal address. Don't tell anyone else. Private message me, and your webcam will be, your pen cam will be on your way. And if you didn't win it this week, you'll get a chance to win it next week when I learn to use my giveaway tool properly so you can all see it. And I can share my screen properly. Sorry about that. Stuff up of the week. You're used to me stuffing it all up. At least we had sound this week. That's a plus. So, people, we're going out now on our usual way. Here we go. Somewhere. Lost it.
그림자를 잡았습니다. 작전 종료. 전원 복귀할 것.
That's it, people. See you next week. Apply for those jobs. Tune in next week, 2 o'clock, next Wednesday, this next Friday. Is that the 2nd or the 3rd of June? And you might be able to win one of these, okay? And have a lot of fun on the weekend. Enjoy your investigation week, people. We start off our week with it saying g'day to all the surveillance investigators at 4:30 on Monday morning. If you're on Facebook, we're there and we say g'day. We end our week by saying mission complete, all units return to base. See you next week. Thanks for watching.